Hey guys, I'm Bob, and today I'm going to be reviewing this XMark seated calf raise machine. It's model XM-7613. I purchased this machine over a year ago. At that time I did an unboxing and assembly video, which you can check out. I've gotten some decent feedback from that video for people who have actually purchased this machine and had to put it together from scratch. It wasn't that difficult to do, and you can watch that video if you ever decide to purchase this machine. I think this is the best seated calf raise machine for a home gym, and I say that for a number of reasons. It's a reasonably priced machine. I think it goes for something like $350 on Amazon right now. It's not one of the really cheap ones that you can get for $150 to $200, $250. This one has 2 by 3 inch steel tubular construction, which is extremely sturdy. It allows you to fit it in a small footprint, so it's not one of these big glommy machines. If you have a big area, if you have a big home gym in your basement, you could probably buy one of those. It's probably going to cost you more money as well. Another thing about this, which is probably attractive to someone who works out at home, it allows you to use 2-inch Olympic weights, which is what I use with this machine. But if you only have 1 inch or 1 1/8 inch hole standard plates, then you can use these on this machine as well. So those are some of the reasons I think it's probably the best seated calf raise machine for a home gym. It's made by XMark, and XMark is not a fly-by-night company. It has roughly 30 different pieces of workout equipment that it manufactures. So, and in the description I can add a link to the product manual for this machine, and it also shows all the other pieces of equipment that XMark manufactures. So it's a good solid company that isn't just making a seated calf raise machine and a bench, for example. So at this time I'd like to move this machine out into the main area of my workout area, and the reason I left it here is I wanted to show you that it has such a small footprint that I can actually use it right next to my miter saw stand and my workbench. This is where I actually use it when I do work out with it, but in order to show it to you better, I'm going to move it out into the main area of my workout area in my shed here, and so we can look at each of the features in more detail. So let's get to that. Okay, let's start with the back of the machine. This is the seat, and it's advertised as a 3-inch Duracraft seat, and when I measure it, it's more like 2.5 to 2 3/4 inch, but it's very comfortable. It's well made. It has the same Duracraft material where your thighs will be hitting, and these are swiveling, which is great for when you're actually performing the exercise. So that's a very attractive feature, and I've used this for a year, and there's no scratches on this or no rips at all. It's very sturdy. It's gives you a really nice cushion when you're doing the exercise. Okay, this right here is called the adjustable slide. I'm just going to loosen this up, and depending upon your height, it gives you three different positions. There's 3 holes here. I use mine on the first one, but if you were a little bit larger person, you can move it further up, and this just tightens down once you have the selection that you are comfortable with. This section here is called the adjustable pad frame, and you do the same thing. You loosen it up and you pull it out, and you can see here there's five different settings which is all depends upon your height, and mine works, I think, at number 2 from the bottom, but you have a good adjustment depending upon your height, or your size for that matter. The foot pads here are at an angle, I'd say roughly 30-degree angle, with a non-slip, kind of like a sandpapery like material, and you can see it hasn't really worn much at all. It's a little bit discolored, but there's no breaks in it or anything like that. And I really like the fact that it's angled, because it really gives a nice hit to your calves when you're actually performing the exercise. So let's move up on the machine. Now this right here is called the stopper frame, and when you lift up on the machine, I notice I don't have any weights on at the moment. When you lift up on the machine, this actually just falls away, and then you're able to do the exercise like that. And then when you're done, you're just gonna place it back, and it doesn't require any work at all to place it back underneath. So the stopper frame holds the machine at a level height. I will be giving a demo later to show you how that actually works when you're actually executing the exercise. Okay, the last thing to show you before the demonstration is these are the weight horns or weight holders, and you can see from there is actually a sleeve that goes over another piece underneath, which I'll show you in a moment. But these work well for 2-inch Olympic weights, which is what I use. Some people have complained on Amazon that if you have like a spring clamp like this, it won't hold it in place. First of all, whenever I used to go to a gym and they have these seated calf raise machines, I never saw anyone use a clamp to hold the weights in place. Now, I'm just using a 2.5 right now for demonstration purposes, but most people will use 45s or 25s on these weight holders. Now, when you purchase this particular machine, it comes with 2 different Allen wrenches. This one here uses, you just have to put it into a set screw and just unscrew it, and it will remove the sleeve. This is the 2-inch sleeve. And then if you want to use the 1-inch hole plates, you can do that. They did supply 2 of these small little spring clamps, and they came with the machine. So those actually tighten onto the 1-inch diameter weight horn. So if you do happen to have a bunch of these 1-inch hole plates that you want to use with this machine, you can use them, which is great because not everyone has Olympic weights at home. So that's a benefit of being able to switch them on and off. And there's a set screw right here. You just have to place these back on and just use the Allen wrench and tighten it up. Nothing to it. It took me just a few seconds to do that. So those are on nice and tight. Another thing that people complain about with this machine on Amazon, and there aren't a whole lot of complaints, but this is one of them, is that, they're 13 inches long. And to be honest with you, I don't use any more than, I don't go out more than, say, 4 inches, depending upon the amount of weights that you have on there and the size of the weights you have on there. So 13 inches is a little bit excessive. So if you really wanted to be, I don't know, if you really needed the extra space for some reason, I don't. You could actually have them cut off by a welder or someone that actually could cut these down. But there was no reason for me to do it, so I'm very happy with the length of these. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. So at this time, I'd like to do a quick demo of how I use this machine. So what I've done is I've added 100 pounds of weights. I get two 25-pound Olympic weights on either side here. One thing to remember about these particular machines is that whatever weight you have here, this is for the seed calf raise machines, whatever weight you have here, it's going to feel like 3 times the amount of weight at your calves. So with 100 pounds here, it's going to feel like 300 pounds at my calves. So let's do a quick demo. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to place my feet, balls of my feet, on the non-slip surface, which is angled, the footrests. And then I put my thighs underneath the thigh pads, which are very comfortable. What I've read from some reviews of other products is that it really bothers their thighs because there's not enough padding right here. So I'm just going to lift up, and this arm drops out of the way, and then I'm going to slowly perform the exercise. And you want to get as much range of motion as possible, which you can go all the way down and then all the way up. And I usually like to do about 15 reps at this weight. I'm not going to do that now for demonstration purposes. But that's pretty much it. And when you're done, you're just going to take your hand and you're going to just move this arm over and just drop the weight, or drop this portion onto this piece of rubber that's on top of the metal right here. So that's all there is to it. I think it's important that you use this type of machine in conjunction with the standing calf raises to get a really good hit on your calves. I appreciate you watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed the detailed review as well as the demo that I just gave. If you're interested in purchasing this, there'll be links in the description. There'll also be a link to the product manual and the other products that XMark manufactures. Appreciate if you do enjoy the video, that you like it, and hope you subscribe to my channel. But thanks again, and we'll see you next time.